Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. Today I'm celebrating 3 years since I started this YouTube channel. It was exactly 3 years ago. I'm going to pull up that video, my very first one. I posted about this today on Facebook and also my channel's community area where I can post stuff. And yeah, it all started here in our chicken coop back when we had chickens and ducks and geese and well, I don't know if we had guineas yet, but at some point we did have guineas. And turkeys and cows and all the rest of it. If you're here, let me know that you're here and where you're from. And I'd also be interested to know how long you've been watching the channel. I'm going to give it just a minute here. Usually takes some time for people to join. But time is like just really flown. I was just talking to Troy from the Last Dispensation channel. And like for him, he said that it feels like this was only like a year and a half ago that I started. He already had his channel up and going, and he was just under like 3,000 at the time when I started. And he was my first interview that I ever did. And he helped me get started. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to him. So Troy, right here, The Last Dispensation. He's been doing it a little bit longer than I have, but we've become pretty good friends. He puts out good content, and we share a lot of subscribers. Let's go back to this. Let me just check something here. I'm getting a little warning here about the bit rate. Like, is everything coming through okay? Let me know in the chat. Jessica's here. Hi from Wisconsin. Hi, Jessica. How long have you been watching the channel? Just out of curiosity. If you're here, say hi in the chat. Let me know how long you've been watching the channel. Surprisingly, there are some people that have watched me since like the very beginning, which is crazy. Strengthen your foundation. Yes. And Jessica says yes. Okay. So the stream quality is good. Karen McCain. Hi from Mesa, Arizona. I've been watching for about 2.5 years. Okay. So the majority of the time that I've been doing this. Jessica, 1.5 years. Deb Cahill. Hi, Deb from Smithville, Missouri. Strengthen your foundation. Hi from Brigham City, Utah. I've been watching for 3 years. Deb Cahill, about 2 months. J. Tyler Hatch 12. Thanks for your channel, Jared. I've learned a lot from you and look forward to each video. Tyler in Pleasant View, Utah. Been watching for about 1 year. So what I want to talk about in this video is a couple things. I want this to kind of like encourage you to either start your own YouTube channel or maybe a blog or a Facebook group or write a book or whatever your talents are in whatever way you feel that you can have a voice. I would encourage you to do that. And I'm going to share what I've learned doing this channel, the different things that I've accomplished, not to like boast or anything like that or to be prideful, but to show you that you really do matter. You know, I'm not sure that I felt that so much before I started this channel. I knew that I had made a difference in the world with those that I've interacted with, people at work, going on a mission. I served a mission to Spain. And, you know, I knew I was making a difference, but one thing that we've covered on the channel is that ever since the time of Joseph Smith, technology has really taken off. And the reason why, according to multiple prophets and apostles, is to help forward the work of the kingdom and to help gather scattered Israel. And I've known this like since the very beginning. I realized that the internet would be huge as far as the different missions of the church. But we have this thing, for example, called YouTube, and just anybody can get on and share whatever's in their heart or whatever they've studied or whatever their talent is. There's a bunch of like LDS music channels. There's also kids channels and stuff like that. There's a whole myriad of different things but it's never been easier than it is now to have your voice heard. And you can really do a lot. And I just want to show you what I've done with this channel and hopefully inspire you to do something similar. Catherine Christensen, every day, 2 years. I can't believe there's people that watch me every day. Well, every day except for Sunday, right? Because I don't post on Sunday. I'd be interested to know though, do you like go back and watch old videos on Sunday? Let me know how often you guys watch. All right, we got about 28 people in here right now. I'm probably going to give it just a little bit more time. Let's see. Let me pull up my notes. I try to be somewhat organized, but this truly is an unscripted channel. I guess you could say I am a saint unscripted, right? Darlene from Lethbridge, Alberta, watched for 2 years. Isn't that where Sister Nelson's from? I feel like she's mentioned Lethbridge. Is she from there, or she grew up there for a time? Strengthen your foundation. I watch almost every day. Good. Okay. Sorry, give me just 1 second here. Okay. So this is why I think that you should start a channel, because I think that you can achieve similar results to me, maybe more, maybe less, maybe something completely different, but the possibilities are endless. Okay. So first and foremost, I think one of the biggest accomplishments on my channel has been the Flood the Earth Challenge. That's probably the most important thing that I've done on this channel. And I was never expecting to get to that point. I started my channel, like I said, let's just go back here. I just started by taking my phone and recording in the chicken coop. And the reason why I started is because at the time there weren't a whole lot of like LDS Second Coming channels. There were a few. There were a couple popular ones and popular presentations, but there just wasn't very much, and I wanted more. And I was starting to develop my own thoughts and I started having my own insights, and I wanted to share what I was thinking. And so I'd been watching not only LDS Second Coming channels, but also like other Christian channels that were like watching Signs of the Times. And I realized that it doesn't have to be like super edited. Like there's a guy, I can't remember his name now, but all he would do is just like sit against a brick wall with his phone and just record himself talking about the latest news. And he had tons of subscribers. He probably had over 100,000 subscribers. He was wildly popular. And I realized that it didn't have to be this like big production. It's called YouTube. It's not professional tube. It's not Hollywood tube. It's just average Joe YouTube. And I found a lot of value from his channel and others. And so I realized I could probably do the same, but it did develop over time, and I've refined everything over time. And just all these like different things like started coming up, like the Flood the Earth Challenge. So I feel like it's been like the most important aspect of my channel, simply because apparently, and I am trusting everybody that's reporting in, but apparently it's led to people getting baptized and joining the church. And then at least one of them has gone on to the temple and received their endowments and been sealed. And I hope that I see more reports of that soon. So that by itself made it worth all this effort doing this channel. But there's been a whole lot more that's come of it. So let me get back to my notes here. So flood the earth. We can use technology. We can use this technology to spread the gospel in multiple different ways. And this is just one thing that I can do. I don't mind the monotony of going through comments and emails and then tracking everybody's sharing of the Book of Mormon. I don't mind. That's a gift that I have. I feel like it's like the gift of monotony, which was really developed in the Army. And it's allowed me to do really boring things that take a long time, but yield incredible results. Okay. Another thing is I've been surprised by the number of people that have commented or sent me emails saying that they've decided to go back to church. That's another thing. I guess I never really thought that would happen when I first started my channel, is that it would have that kind of impact. And I know it's not just my channel. I know that there's a lot of other really good LDS channels that I feel like they are called. I feel like I'm called. I feel like they're called to do what they're doing and what I'm doing. And I think that this is part of the reason. Like, there is a reason why we're called influencers. And I've seen that time and time and time again. It's actually kind of like scared me a little bit. So I'm trying my best to get better and better and better over time, and more careful with how I say things and stuff like that. But one thing that I've been able to influence, and others too, is getting people to go back to church. We have in our local wards and stakes, we have our ministering brothers and sisters, and really they should be at the front line of getting people to come back to church, and just like the local ward. And that is still their responsibility, but this is one way, I think, that you can get to some people that maybe aren't too keen on having like a visit from their ministering brothers and sisters, I think. So imagine if you had a YouTube channel or a blog, or you wrote a book or something like that, you may have the same effect. That's what I have experienced. And I know that others have too, like Troy. On that same note, there have been people that have gone ahead and gotten their temple recommends where they haven't had temple recommends for a while, and have gone to the temple, whether for the first time or just like going back to the temple and it's been a while. So that's why it's like, I generally believe that all LDS YouTubers, bloggers, authors, Facebookers and stuff like that, I feel like they are all doing a really good job. And even though, like, when you first start, you may have like conflicts with what they say, you may disagree, and then start to see it as like, my school of thought versus their school of thought. But over time, I feel like I've come to realize that even though we may disagree on different points of doctrine or prophecy or whatever, I think pretty much all of these other content creators are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're doing like this greater work of just like bringing the gospel more into your home. Like we should all be doing our own personal study of the scriptures. And in addition to that, studying out of the gospel library, conference talks and church manuals and stuff like that. We should be doing Come Follow Me. But in addition to that, like once you've done those things, a lot of people sometimes go to just regular entertainment, which is fine. But as you know, a lot of entertainment today is just no good. It's no good. And so that's where I feel like people like me, YouTubers, movie makers, because I know there's like a bunch of LDS movies out there. I wish there were more. I really wish there were more. But that's where we can like fill in some of where the darkness is, like give people an alternative, like an alternative type of entertainment that's hopefully good and wholesome. And even though none of us are probably 100% right in our views, it's much, much, much better than the alternative. And so at this point, I've really decided that I support other LDS channels and hope that they do well. Because of this like effect that I've seen on my channel and others of helping people get on and stay on and progress down the covenant path. Okay. Let me get to the chat for a second. Okay, Deanna DeWalt from Cascade, Idaho. Plaid. First video I saw was candid follow-up about your wife's concern about cancer. Glad she was okay. Kind of surprised that that was the scariest thing you guys went through, how I understood it. So watched more. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, losing my eternal companion. We talk a lot about near-death experiences in the spirit world and stuff. So I know that everything's gonna be okay, but I don't want her to go. That is the scariest thing for me. That or my children, but we haven't had any close calls with that. Deb Cahill, my daughter's fiance started taking lessons and they are going to get married ASAP, but he wants to be baptized. That's great. Willa O'Neill, call Jared watching from North Texas, or sorry, from Fort Worth, Texas. Been watching for 2 years now. Borky Baby, a Wii in here from Ogden. Deanna Tiwalt, I love the way you do your channel. I feel like you are actually talking to us, not that we are just watching you talk. Good. I'm glad. I'd like for this channel to just feel as natural as possible. I really am unscripted for the most part. I try and get things organized, but I like to have just like an organic feel to my channel. Borky Baby just got a job in Atlanta. Oh, congratulations. Moving soon. Leaving Weber County behind. Woo. Love your channel. Wow, that's a big move. I don't know. Have you ever been to the South? I've never been to the South. Well, no, I lived in Texas, but I've never been to like the Southeast. Betty Horn, hello from Sarasota, Florida. Hi, Betty. Goblin 2004. Oh, good. I was able to catch a live stream. Penny Tidwell, happy 3-year Jared with sparkly heart. We are all sure grateful for you and your family that supports you so that you can make us all great content to study from. Double high five. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So far, the things that I've talked about so far, if you're just joining, that I feel like this is accomplished and why you should also consider doing your own content, whether it's a YouTube channel, Facebook group, write a book, make a movie, whatever, write songs. The Flood the Earth Challenge, people coming back to church. People have said that they have come back to church because of my channel, which I'm glad. People getting temple recommends, going to the temple. Okay. After that, I've had the opportunity to help other channels get started. As you know, I think that we need more and more LDS voices. And you know, the reason why I believe that, it's because, and I already knew this before I put together this spreadsheet, but this was like, when was it? It was in June. I was thinking about my content and how much I've put out, because I'm very prolific. I put out 2 videos a day, and it's pretty much always been like that. And so I was wondering, I wanted to like when you look at other channels, you can see the number of subscribers that they have, which is one indication of success. I don't feel like it's as meaningful though as like total views or watch time, because I don't know about you, but with me, I am subscribed to so many YouTube channels. Like I'll come across a video that's really interesting and then I won't want to forget that channel. And so I'll subscribe. But there's a very, very small percentage of channels that I follow regularly. And so the way that I view subscribers, I think it's good. I think it's an indication of your channel, maybe how far you've come or how attractive your channel is, like having like a good first impression at least. But I feel like the more meaningful thing is total channel views. And so I put together a spreadsheet, because when you go to the homepage of any channel and you click on About, when you scroll down, it'll tell you some of the pertinent facts about the channel, including the total channel views. And so I put that on a spreadsheet, and I looked for as many like LDS channels as I could possibly find. And I was really happy. I was like, oh, this is good. I'm doing actually a lot better than I thought. And then I was like, okay, I need to like share this with other LDS YouTubers. And I'm like slowly rolling that out as I'm able to like contact other YouTubers. I was like, I should do this because just like the Flood the Earth challenge, which is designed to help you share copies of the Book of Mormon that you otherwise would not share. I feel like by maintaining this spreadsheet, I can help other YouTubers like be more motivated to put out more content and just know that they've come like a long way, you know, because unless you see the big picture, you can't really tell how far you've come. It's just like a way to help you focus. And so after I did that, I was like, you know what? I should look at like these like anti-church channels and like see where do we compare to these other channels. And that was really eye-opening. I was actually kind of upset. In fact, let me show you. So this is not a spreadsheet that I'm going to just like give everybody access to. It's for me and other YouTubers. But I'm like going to update this every month. Okay, so what I have here is there's all sorts of channels. So the channels that I have in blue are like official church channels, or they're like BYU channels. Like at the very top of this list is Studio C. They have 3 million subscribers. But more than that, they have 2.9 billion with a B views. After that is the Piano Guys. Here, I'll zoom in. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. After that is Piano Guys. They're a music channel. So I have like type in column H because I want to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. And I added on here the anti channels. So I found out that you have some channels that are like their top 2 are higher than our top 2 when we're talking about podcasts, like private podcasts, right? So you have these 2, and this is according to total channel views. Okay. Our top 2 is Scripture Central and Messages of Christ. They're actually part of like the same. It's like Scripture Central has like a few different channels, and Messages of Christ is one of those. So they're in the top 2. And then as you go through here, you find a bunch of other, anti-channels. Here I am right here. I'm at the number 9 spot, like when compared to other YouTubers. And if I have like the picture here, this is somebody that I've already shared this spreadsheet with. So Word Radio has access to it quick. And I'm like I'm trying to get it out to more people. But the point is, what I'm trying to say here is, it's really important for us to have a voice, because imagine this. Imagine that there were no LDS channels, or very few. Well, what you would have left over are church or channels that are hostile toward the church. Does it make sense? So we can't be complacent. Oh, and by the way, the ranking for like LDS podcasts so far, I have found 196. That's LDS private podcasts. And then all the channels I've included, like inactive channels, channels that haven't put out anything for more than 6 months. So everything together, all of them, so far, I know of 467. And so I do this like monthly thing where I'm reaching out to these other channels and giving them the update and sharing, insights and stuff like that. So you're needed, whether it's on YouTube or anywhere else. If we're quiet, then they get heard more. They reach more people than we do. So that's why I think it's important to, whatever you feel prompted to do it, because you're more than likely needed in that area. So I have, let me go back to this. Go back to the window. So I have a number of channels. These are my featured channels. And most of these are ones that I've interviewed or I've encouraged to start a channel, because I feel like that's what we should do is help others out. Like, instead of necessarily looking at it as competition, um, there's enough to go around. But what's more important is more and more voices on our side. And so that's one thing that I've accomplished. There's been a number of these that have started because I did the offer to interview people who wanted to start a channel. Um, for example, Mindy with Temples of Jesus, Joni, um, Caitlin. She's one, I guess she told me that she's watched my channel since the very beginning, since the very beginning. And now she's doing her channel, and I'm excited about all the channels, but especially hers, because we're the most alike. Like we talk about the same stuff. She's a second coming channel like me. And she's really popular. I've talked to her on the phone, and we've gone over like how quickly I grew compared to how quickly she's grown, and she's growing like a lot faster. So she's really like up and coming. But everybody here is doing a good job, and that's like another thing that you can do is you can help inspire others to self-actualize and reach their potential, or give them a hand up. So that's just another thing that can be accomplished by doing a channel. And then I've been able to promote products from some of you guys, which I'm happy to do because it helps out other members of the church, and it's a blessing to others rather than just, me just doing my stuff. Like, it's another way to kind of to serve and help someone out. I've got, oh my gosh, why? I'm 40 now. You know that, right? I'm 40 now. Trevor Stevens, with his wood carvings, and I've promoted others too. I'm about to promote stuff from Ginger McGovern. She's a pretty prolific commenter, and she does art, so you'll be seeing stuff from that too. And then, of course, other things is just simply the main service of this channel, which is to watch signs of the times, like watch the news, but also dig into doctrine that's kind of harder to understand unless you like collect it all together. Even then, it may not be easy to understand, or there may be loose ends or things that we just don't know for sure. But I think that's obviously been a huge thing, because I think there's been a lot of misconceptions. I know not everybody agrees with me with what I think are misconceptions, but I think I've helped educate about some of these like lesser known things in church doctrine and stuff like that. And of course it's benefiting myself as well. That's like the other thing that you would get out of this is, what the saying goes, like, the one that learns the most is the teacher, right? Because you have to go through and do all the work to prepare a lesson. And so you will benefit from this if that's what you do. Again, a blog, YouTube channel, Facebook group, whatever. Just don't sit back and do nothing. Do something. Pray, read your patriarchal blessing. That's like, you should definitely read your patriarchal blessing, and then follow through with promptings, because the Lord knows what you're capable of and what he wants you to do in this life, what missions he wants you to accomplish. And then, I've put together the spreadsheets, which I think is value to a lot of you, because I see a lot of people on there. At any given time, there's usually people on there. And as I'm saying that, not right now as we speak, but I'm telling you, almost every single time that I get onto my spreadsheets, there's somebody that's looking at them. And that's a service that I provide for free. You can access my spreadsheets in the description box. The link for it is in the description box of each video. I think it's really important to do this work. This is another thing. I've noticed that there are other LDS groups or organizations that basically are doing the same thing that I'm doing. They've already done a lot of it. For example, you have Joseph Smith Foundation, where they've collected just all these different accounts and quotes, and they do good work. You have the Interpreter Foundation, you have the blog or website Ask Gramps, where it's like answered a lot of these questions about church doctrine. I've realized that it's needed. Um, what? What do you mean? I'll do that later. Sorry. Okay, so I think that that's a really important thing to do too. Maybe you could consider putting together a website or whatever and do something similar where you do your own research and you pull together all these different quotes and stuff like that. There's a need for it. Not everybody has the time or even necessarily the ability to find some of the things that I have found, Joseph Smith Foundation has found, others, because there's just things that are hard to find. You really have to sometimes just hunt for these things, and you have to go to like source to source to source to find the full account, or to find the original source, the primary source. So not everybody can do that. Not everybody has the time. There's been times where I've heard people say like, well, I'm not going to tell you where to find it. I want you to find it. And that's good. Like, we all do need to learn for ourselves how to find things. But at the same time, when you go to college, it's not like you go there without a textbook and they're like, well, for this class, I want you to do the research, all the research that would put this textbook together. No, the way that science works, the way that history works, like you build on what's already been found, and then you go beyond that and you find more, or you add on to what's already been found. That's my philosophy. I think everybody should learn how to research, but I think there's also a place for accumulating all this stuff, and then you have it, you read it, and then it's like a boost. Then you go to the next level and you find things that other people were not able to find, or put stuff together that other people haven't put together yet. It's all of humanity. It's this big group project. We have science, we have all the different fields of science and history, and we all do it together, as a human race. Okay, let me get back to the chat really quick. Plaid said, just found Messages of Christ today, and the 3D model of Herod's temple is pretty cool. Wonder if you would do a collaboration with that channel. I don't know if it's the type of channel that would do a collaboration. So here's the thing. For some reason, my channel does not do very well when it comes to doing interviews with others. Whenever I do an interview, I can pretty much always count on that video bombing and only a handful of people watching it. I think it's because I'm not like as social as other channels. I may not have as entertaining of like conversations with others, maybe more on the boring side. I'm not sure if I have the personality for it, but for whatever reason, whenever I do interviews, they usually tend to bomb. There's other channels that do really good with that, like Ward Radio and Quick, and so many others, Thoughtful Faith, Stick of Joseph. But I think that they just have the personality for it. I don't think that I do. I don't know, or maybe there's more to it. So sometimes I do collaborations, but not very often. The only one that I've done like steadily, it wasn't a collaboration, but the only interview that I've done regularly is the monthly interview with Rabbi Gerfine. But like I've said in a couple of videos now, but in case you didn't hear it, I guess he's like cut off his relationship with Israel 365. So I'm no longer going to be interviewing him, which is unfortunate because, this was like, and this is another thing. This is another like accomplishment of the channel. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever be connecting with Jews. And if I did, certainly not Jews in Israel or Jerusalem, but that is what has happened. Uh, and I feel like that's something that I was supposed to do. And I see other channels doing it as well. I know that Scripture Central, they have like a rabbi that they've talked to, at least I think a couple times. And, you're starting to see like more like bridges being built almost between us and them, at least when it comes to YouTube. Well, also at the church level, because I've been doing videos talking about all these trips by apostles and prophets to Israel and to Jerusalem. So it's like happening on the big scale. It's happening on the smaller scale too with us. It's been an interesting thing, and it came to me. I didn't go looking for it. There was one time I did a video where it just like went viral. I think even to this day, I'm not going to look it up. Even to this day, it's my top video, where I put together this like compilation of mostly Israel 365 articles. And I went through just like this like timeline of all these like preparations for the third temple, whether it was a new altar that was constructed or a new reenactment by the priests, the Kohanim, or whatever. This video it went viral. It went past 100,000 views, which is very unusual for me. I don't think I've had any other videos that have gone past 100,000 views for a single video. And I think what happened is I drove a lot of traffic to Israel 365, and they were probably like, what's going on right now? And so they reached out to me because they realized it was coming from me, and they wanted to set me up with Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz to do an interview. And so I was like, what? Okay. And then it's been history since then. I've talked to Adam. He's a reporter with Israel 365. I've talked to Rabbi Eli Michel. He's with Israel 365. They set me up with Rabbi Gerfein, and I've talked to him for probably about 2 years or something like that. I talked to Samantha Siegel, Rabbi Pepperstone here in Wichita. Am I missing any? I talked to, I can't remember his name, but I think his name was Natan. He is a Levite, and he says that he's a Nazirite too, which Rabbi Pepperstone was like, that's not really a thing. Like, okay. But anyway, he was a Levite Nazirite in Jerusalem, and he has his own YouTube channel. I interviewed him. I think that's all, but I've like talked to you. Oh, and then Dr. Henry Abramson. He has a YouTube channel where he's like a scholar of Jewish history. I interviewed him. So like I've like unexpectedly, starting with Israel 365, I've talked to all these Jews, and I haven't proselyted. I haven't like shared our beliefs. At least not, okay. Maybe the earlier videos I kind of like shared a couple things, but then I realized that the non-proselyting thing in Israel, I don't think it's just if you're in Israel. Like members of the church outside of Israel should not like discuss religion, or should not discuss church beliefs with Jews that are in Israel. So I've like been really careful with that. But I think, I've like established like a relationship. I've helped, I think, portray the church well. In fact, the couple times that I've talked to Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz, he has told me that like we are some of the good ones. Like he said, Jared, you're one of the good ones, and your church is one of the good ones, because you have all these other churches that don't respect the laws of Israel. They proselyte, or they look at the Jews in the third temple only for the Antichrist that's supposed to come. They want the third temple built so that prophecy, according to them, can be fulfilled. The Antichrist can come, and then after that, whatever. So the Jews are onto that. They understand why the Christians are so interested in the third temple. It's not because necessarily they're like, rooting for the Jews to be reestablished in the land, but they want prophecy to come to pass. I'm not speaking for all other Christians necessarily, but he has told me, And I think that I made a really good impression on him, that we're not like that, and that we are good ones. One of the first things he told me was, he was like, me and Ellie were talking about your church, and yours is the only Christian church that hasn't killed Jews. You know, Rabbi Gerfine has said some really complimentary things about the church. There's one time he went to the Book of Mormon play. I think he was visiting New York City, and he went to go see the play, and they had like the, I guess like the program or something when you walk in. And on the back page, there was an ad from our church, like an official ad from our church that said, now that you've seen the play, read the book. And Rabbi Gerfine was really impressed by that, because he was like, I'm impressed that your church, excuse me, I'm impressed that your church, didn't get like angry or bitter or hostile toward the play, doing this mockery of the faith or this like parody. So, I haven't done any proselyting, but all these like interactions, I think that it could lead to something bigger. Maybe when Christ comes, like maybe when he comes to the Mount of Olives and they're around, maybe they'll remember me. Maybe they'll remember Scripture Central and others, and feel like they already have a connection to the church, or that they know somebody in the church. You know what I mean? This wouldn't have happened if I didn't do this YouTube channel. Okay, so spreadsheets, connecting with Jews. We've talked about, okay, let me go to the chat for a second. Okay, the Haystack, congratulations. Thank you, Haystack. Make sure to subscribe to the Haystack. He has his own channel. Make sure to subscribe to him. He's on my featured channels. You can find him there too. Leanne, I've been with you since the beginning from Salt Lake. I watch almost daily. I found Jen, Christian Fire Poppy, through your channel. I love both your channels. Heart, thank you for all you do, with 4 exclamation marks. Thank you. Yeah, Jen is one. She responded the first time when I was offering to do interviews. At first, she was just doing a blog. And as I like talked to her, I was like, you should like think about doing a YouTube channel, because like with all the material that you have, why not do a YouTube channel? You have so much good stuff to share. And that is what she ended up doing. And let me just show you really quick. So my featured channels, I have them all sorted by the number of subscribers. It just so everything's like fair. There's no like, it's just like, nope, that's the way I'm doing it. So it's not like I'm playing favorites. It's just ones with the most successful at the top, and then so on. So Jen has like gone really far. She's at 7.3. Okay. She's at 7,370 subscribers. That is a lot. That is a lot. She's still getting bigger and bigger. And, I think Anticipating Christ's Return is going to get up there too. I think a lot of the other ones can as well, but there's just like a really high demand for, second coming content. That's like what a lot of people are on YouTube. There's a lot of them that are focused on that. There's a big demand for it. So they're both doing really good. But yeah, Christian Fire Power, she almost didn't do her channel. But she decided to do it. Started as the blog, but then she decided to do the channel. Oh, and she even just put out a video yesterday. I've talked to her. She's been busy lately, just like doing summer stuff. She has a family and they've been like traveling and stuff, but I guess she was able to put out a video. That's great. Okay. Karen McCann, I love your channel because it keeps my mind very Christ-centered as Babylon is falling. That brings me so much peace. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Digital Jedi, you're doing great work here. You're doing great work here, brother. Thank you. Thank you, Master Jedi. Betty Macro, the 97th, 3 years. Holy smokes, man. That's been a while. You've made a living in this day. Okay. You've made living in this day so epic. Honestly, just being able to realize how much is happening right now has made me a lot more diligent. Thank you. Thank you. Um, that's the other thing. I feel like there's a lot of things that wouldn't be noticed unless you're doing something like this, unless you're like doing this full time and like pulling together all this information. There's a lot of stuff that would be missed. And I could be wrong about some of it, but um it takes a lot of work and someone's got to do it. So if you feel like you can do it, then do it. Viviana Kendall, we need people like you. God bless you in your amazing work. Thank you, Viviana. Plaid, my main dive into YouTube, I was sick in bed, so discovered David Alexander as he was just starting. It wrecked you or recorded you, and then recorded Watcher Palmer, trying to keep up. Watched almost all your new posts since. Okay, great. Goblin 2004, thank you for what you're doing. It is always fun to join a live stream. Lois Leonard, the third temple is a big draw. You're pretty hard on yourself considering your overall success. Thanks, Lois. Okay. Got 63 people watching. I think I'm about ready to wrap up, but I want to give some advice. Like, I feel like what's brought me to this point as far as like having a successful YouTube channel. And I don't think this just applies to YouTube. I think it applies just to life in general. The first thing is just being persistent and just like not stopping. I know that there's like different sayings out there, like something like half of the or most of the battle is just showing up. Like when you win a battle, half of it is just showing up or something like that. And I think that's true. I think a lot of people, and I feel like I've seen this on my spreadsheet that I was just talking about. I think a lot of people will start a project, but they'll have like big, they'll have big plans, big ambitions, and want it right away. And I don't think that's typically what happens. You have to be persistent and do something for a long time and not give up and be consistent and get through the hard times and just keep going. That's what you have to do. You just have to keep going because naturally over time, as long as you remain flexible, you'll refine yourself over time. You'll figure out what works and what doesn't. And then if you find something that doesn't work, you change. Some people, they find it too hard to change, and so they fail. Or, they have kind of like more of a hare mentality rather than a tortoise mentality. And that's the thing. You have to keep going. And I've noticed on this spreadsheet, it seems like there's a lot of channels that had a lot of ambition in the beginning, but then they just like gave up. I don't know the story behind each one. Maybe some of them, something changed in their life to where they can't do the channel anymore. But other ones, I really have the feeling that they just kind of like gave up. And what I've noticed doing this spreadsheet now that I've updated it like 3 times, like 3 different months, like everybody that keeps putting out content. And when I say keeps putting out content, I mean, at least once every 6 months, they like stay at least that active. All of them like progress and rise up the ranks. There's even some channels that are, well, that's beside the point. So I really feel like more than anything, there's things like this that are just like a waiting game. I really think that the day is going to come when me, Ward Radio, The Last Dispensation will get to like 100,000 subscribers, which I'm not really so interested in subscribers. I'm more focused on views. But whatever the case, whatever metric you're wanting, I feel like it's mostly just a matter of time as long as you keep going. I feel like that's become very evident looking at all these different channels and how they've progressed through time. So that requires patience. It requires patience and looking at the big picture, and not becoming impatient, and having realistic expectations. I notice there's a lot of people that try, like they think that they need to, um, like they think they need to do a lot of like editing, or they have to like make their videos like very polished. And that's like the key to success, or you have to like figure out the secret of the algorithms. And I think all those things are good. I think that they can like boost your channel, but I think what it really comes down to is, at your core, do you have valuable content? And I think that I do, and that's why I've come this far, because I do a lot of hard work. I find a lot of things that are hard to find. I put together these spreadsheets, which are very time consuming, and hence I'm willing to do something that is hard to do, or that you're not able to do, maybe just for whatever reason. And so therefore there's value. And that's why people watch my channel. I believe it's because I'm able to get quality stuff and keep on top of all the things that are happening. So, but you can get into this trap where you're not paying attention to like your core product or content, and you're trying to like do the tricks. You're like focusing on like the bells and whistles to bring you forward, and that's not going to work. The reason why my channel works is because there's a demand for second coming content. There's a demand for church news content. There's a demand for just watching the news in general. There's a demand for getting into like this like church doctrine, this deep church doctrine, or looking up these like different visions and visitations and stuff like that. So just doing the hard work to put that together, that's where the value is. So if you don't have your core, your foundation taken care of, then the bells and whistles don't matter. They're not going to do anything for you. I was watching a video actually not too long ago. It just like popped up as a recommended video, where it was talking about this, how there's like a lot of YouTube channels out there that do like this thing where they get like a lot of like stock not photography, like stock footage, and they'll just be these kind of like bland type channels where they do like a voice, like there's like a narrator, and they talk about something, and there's just all this like stock footage, and it's just kind of boring, and there's like a lot of time put into editing and stuff like that. And this channel talked about the fact that you have he named off like a bunch of like really big YouTubers where they don't do that. A lot of their stuff is like raw, or it doesn't take a lot of time. And the reason why they're up there is because what they're sharing, what they're saying, is actually valuable. It's like they have a really unique insight, or they're able to keep on top of like the latest stuff, or whatever the case may be. So that's why with my channel, and I learned this, a long time ago, before I started doing YouTube. Like when I was doing graphic design, I saw people that would put together like these masterpieces of like images, but it limited how much they were able to put out. And they had some success, but not as much as me, because I did lots of images, and they were good images, but I didn't like put all my eggs in one basket. I just like did lots of like good images, lots of them in a row. And I kept up to like a certain standard of quality, and that's how it is with YouTube. Like I feel like there's not much. I know that some of my videos are probably harder to watch, maybe like it's not scripted, but it works, and the channel keeps growing. And I think ultimately it's more what I'm talking about, rather than saying all my lines perfectly or being perfectly thought out. It's just, if I were to do that, if I were to try and put together like these perfect videos and do like graphics and animations and stuff like that, you would only get probably not even 100th of what I do. And I'm more interested in digging into all this stuff. And it would take it, I would not even get to a lot of this stuff if I was doing that, you know. Bruce K, LDS people seek LDS based content. Studer J, valuable content and consistent posting goes a long way. Yeah, I agree. Patsy Reinhardt, happy to have caught your live stream. Jesse Bart. Oh, sorry, Darlene. Thank you, Jared, for all your efforts. Jesse Bart. Hi, Jared. You inspired me and my family to go to Kirtland. Thank you. Oh, is this the same? Is this a different person? I talked to someone named Jessica. I can't remember her last name. Is that you? Are you the one that I talked to on the phone? Let me know. So anyway, yeah, like there's this kind of like mentality I've never been a big fan of like work smarter, not harder. And that's good. I think that's good, but I think it's work smarter and harder. Do both of them. It's not one or the other. Work as smart as you can and work as hard as you can. Because again, I think if you slip into the work smarter and you just like do the work smarter, then you're not putting out as much stuff and you're mostly focusing on bells and whistles. Plaid says, wish you'd do a video to teach about posting comments. I'm newer in what is the norm or what terms to avoid. Some of my comments seem to be invisible or not relevant. Would like to know what helps. I unfortunately cannot help you with that because I don't know. For one thing, I don't delete comments. If somebody's rude or belligerent or just toxic in some way, I just block them. That means that they can still watch the channel. They can still watch the channel, but they can't comment. They think that they're commenting, but they're not. They're being ghosted basically, or what's it called? Shadow banned. I think it's like shadow ban. So let me show you my YouTube studio. YouTube will flag some comments and then it'll come here to held for review, which at the moment I don't have anything in held for review. And sometimes I don't know why things go to held in review. I really don't. Here, let's watch my video, my first video. And then sometimes I think YouTube just deletes comments, and I don't know. I don't know what triggers it. So I think you just have to use your best judgment and just maybe note what's happened in the past and then just try not to say those key things again. So Studer J, so work smarter so you can work harder is how I usually put it. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Sheila Harding, love your channel and congratulations on 3 great years. Thank you. For those of you that didn't know, in the beginning, this is what I looked like. See, this is the other thing. Oh, there's Troy. This is the other thing. I think a lot of people, they limit themselves because they're like, well, I wouldn't film myself in my room. You know, this wasn't like an ideal setup for me, but just at the time we were using that room as our master bedroom. It is the master bedroom of the house, but anyway, don't worry about it. So now we're in a different room, but I just went. That's all I could do at the time, so I did it, and it wasn't like the best looking. It looks kind of trashy, but it worked because I think people cared more about what I had to say than what was in the background. Now it helps, so now I have a much nicer background, but um, all it does is just help. I also shaved my beard because, when I got out of the army, I was just kind of going for this like veteran look. Beards are really popular right now, not just with veterans, but just in general. But then there was this series of area devotionals. There were only like 5 locations that were part of this series, and one of them was Oklahoma and Kansas. And Sister Nelson spoke, and she told, for some reason, she told the story of a guy that felt like he needed to shave his beard. And he was like, well, the Savior had a beard, and the early brethren, they had beards. Think of Brigham Young, think of Lorenzo Snow. And so he kind of like justified it, but he's like, well, okay, what I'll do is I'll just like, I'll trim my beard really nice. I'll have it like nice and short. But he still had this like nagging feeling that he needed to shave his beard. And he did, and then he felt better. Like he felt like he was following the promptings of the Spirit. And I listened to those other area devotionals that she did where she spoke. She spoke at all of them. She only said it in Kansas and Oklahoma. So for all I know, that may have been for me. I don't know. Because if I would have continued doing this channel with a beard, I know some people think it's silly, but I think there's some people that wouldn't take me as seriously. There's already enough people that don't take me seriously, but having like a big old beard like that probably wouldn't help. Your appearance is important, especially when you're trying to spread the gospel, when you're trying to, talk to a large audience. And it's not that there's anything inherently wrong with beards. They naturally grow from our faces if you're a man. But in this culture, in this context that we're in, it's usually better to be clean shaven when you're doing stuff like this. Like you're talking about the gospel, you go on a mission, whatever. So I know that there's a lot of controversy over what I just said, but I feel like I did the right thing in shaving my beard for this channel. So, Digital Jedi, nice beard. Studer J, hashtag bring back the beard. Laugh out loud. I'm not going to lie. I like how I look in a beard. I think I look pretty good. I like that white streak that I have. That's from when I was in Scouts. I had a mountain biking accident and I fell. I got a big gash in my chin right here. And once I grew out my beard, I realized, oh, okay, I guess I have a white stripe in my beard. Plaid, youngest just walked by. Youngest just walked by. Saw your 3 younger looking and she laughed out loud. Oh, that's funny. Plaid says, did you see the comment about my friend from Israel posted on recent video? I know the word Zion, even in national park context, gets erased in comments. Oh, that's crazy. No, I didn't see that comment, but I'm not able to read all comments because there's too many. I'm like overwhelmed. Every day I'm overwhelmed by comments, emails, texts, phone calls. I'm overwhelmed all the time, but that, I don't know, but no, I didn't see that. Studier J, I did the same thing when I got out of the Marine Corps. Bearderific. Libby Wayman, we so appreciate you, your diligent research and humble approach. It strengthens us in the work. Currently serving a senior couples mission in the Philippines. Awesome. I hope that you're having a good mission. That sounds exciting. Let's see. Let's go to a different one. I used to do this where I have like a digital background in the background, but it didn't look very good because you get these like weird, black spots around your outline, and it just looks kind of silly. It was kind of fun doing it though. But those are my chickens back there. I miss having animals, but we're getting ready to move. Probably next year. So we'd already sold our steers last year, and then we sold our chickens this year. And then once we get to Missouri, hopefully we have a place where we can have animals again. I'd like to have cows again, but we'll see. Shiny Nickel RN, your channel has helped me so much to learn and to also know more about what additional resources that are out there to help me in my study. I appreciate your channel. It's helped me to study better. Thank you. Yeah, there were so many of these resources that I didn't know about. It's this has been like probably the best thing I've done in my life. Aside from like the main things like getting married, having children, going on a mission, out of like jobs, hobbies, this is the best thing that I've ever done, because I've never learned so much as what I'm doing. I've never known about all these resources. Excuse me. I'm still very curious to see what else is out there, because I know that I haven't even tapped or I haven't even scratched the surface of what there is. What else is there? Like, so I seriously sometimes think, okay, I'll have just done a video. It's like, okay, we just covered this account, and that's pretty much it. I think I've heard it all at this point, like all the things, and there can't be anything that big out there at this point. But then there is. It just never stops, which is really cool. I really like doing this spreadsheet, the visions and visitations spreadsheet. I like all my spreadsheets. I like all my timelines because I like to see the big picture. But the visions and visitations, it's almost like this, like, hidden history. It's not hidden, but like when you read the scriptures and you read about visitations of angels and stuff like that, you usually associate it with the scriptures. But to realize that there's been so much of it outside the scriptures, there's just been so much. I feel like it's made it like really, really even more real to me to know that it's like still going on. And I know that it's not just general authorities. Like some of these accounts that I have, they're not general authorities. Like, for example, President Nelson's grandfather that he never met, he wasn't a general authority, but he had that visit from his father. So there must be so much of it that goes on. I really wish I could like look behind the curtain and see everything that's going on, all the interactions between this world and the spirit world and, other places. Excuse me. Kevin Wright says you cannot serve in the temple and have a beard. The Haystack, what do you use to stream? Zoom? StreamYard? No, I use OBS, as in Oscar Bravo Sierra, OBS. It seems to be kind of like the industry standard for YouTube. Like a lot of YouTubers use OBS because it's free, it's openware, and it has this like thing where it's integrated with YouTube. So when I set up my live stream, You just set it up here in OBS, and then it will set it up for you in YouTube. Greg Brown, it would be interesting to talk to BYU and see if the scripture citation index traffic exploded after you discovered and shared it with us. You know, I'll bet that it did. And I'm not saying that to be prideful. Oh, here's my show notes. I didn't realize I was still on that screen. The reason why I think that is because I see time and time again where I'll put something out there and then I'll see people immediately go to that thing. So, for example, recently I've been reposting a lot of old videos under my community tab, and I'll go, and every single time without fail, there'll always be a bunch of people that go watch it. Not as much as like my old videos or my new videos, but there's a substantial amount of people that will go and watch that video. And then with my spreadsheet that I created, at any given time, there's usually somebody on there looking at my spreadsheet. And sometimes it gets to be a lot of people. Let me see if there's somebody on there now. Yeah, there's someone on here now. And you know what? I think before I was looking at the wrong spreadsheet. But there's at least one person right now as we speak on my spreadsheets. And it's not uncommon to have multiple people on here. So just seeing how I'm able to like drive this traffic to various places, I really think there's a lot of people that started using the scripture citation index. You know, I've also felt like this kind of like a connection with Elder Razband, because he's the one that mentioned the scripture citation index in his conference talk. And that's how I found out about it. He said like, oh, this word shows up this many times in the scriptures. And then he mentioned the scripture citation index. That's how I found it, was through him. And then the Flood the Earth challenge, that also came through him. He did a talk. He was talking about, sharing the Book of Mormon, and he used that phrase, flood the earth. And then Chelsea Newman, one of my subscribers, she sent me an email and she was like, you should like look at this talk. He just said flood the earth. Like, that's kind of interesting. I was like, yeah, that is interesting, because the flood, and we're waiting for the second coming, the baptism of fire. But in that talk, that's where he talked about sharing the Book of Mormon using the Gospel Library app. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I didn't know that you could do that. I didn't know there was a Book of Mormon app. And so that's when the gears started turning, and I was like, why not? I'm tracking all these other things. Why not do a Book of Mormon challenge and call it the Flood the Earth challenge? Because that's what he called it. He was quoting scripture from the Pearl of Great Price when the Lord was talking to Enoch, and he was talking about how the earth was going to be flooded with truth that came out of the ground, referring to the Book of Mormon. So, those are like two ways that he has directly influenced, well, I guess indirectly influenced my channel. And then this last general conference, it was so weird. I was doing a live stream as we were driving to Kirtland. And in the session before he spoke, I was doing a live stream, and I was talking about words and how words matter. I was talking about how words matter. I used those words, how words matter. And then that's what his talk was about. His talk was about words matter. I think that was the name of his talk. So it's just interesting. I feel like a kind of a connection to him in that way. There's been so many like weird things that have happened with this channel, like things that I don't share, where it's just like, I can tell that the Lord is guiding me, and he's guiding other channels. Just for example, like I'll do a video and then I'll talk to Caitlin, or I'll talk to Jen, or I'll talk to whoever, Joni, and like they will have made a video about the same thing, but that thing is not like a recent news item. It's not news. It's just like a random like concept. And we'll both have just made a video about it, like maybe on the same day or one right after the other. But that's happened like a number of times, to the point where I feel like the Lord is like directing, like what he's like working with all of us in a coordinated way. There's been so many other things. Oh, and Caitlin's here. Speaking of Caitlin, make sure to, sorry. Make sure to sorry, it's not that funny. Caitlin's here from Anticipating Christ's Return. Hey, just joined. I think that is interesting when that happens. Yeah, it happens, right, Caitlin? It happens. It's already happened. Like with you and me, it has happened with you and anybody else. She says, ha ha ha, I love when you laugh. Ha ha, with an emoji laughing, rolling on the ground laughing. So you guys, if you've just joined, or you haven't caught the first part, I'm celebrating the fact that I've gotten to 3 years doing this YouTube channel. And I went through the different things that I feel like I've accomplished, and why I think that if you are feeling prompted, you should do a YouTube channel or a blog or a Facebook group or write a book or direct a movie or whatever you're feeling prompted to do. Do it, because all of us have infinite potential within us. Literally, we have infinite potential, and we're so much more capable than I think we realize, and can accomplish great things, especially if you follow the Spirit, because the Spirit knows what you're capable of doing. And in all likelihood, whatever you do for the church, you probably prepared for that thing in the pre-mortal life, whether it was a YouTube channel, or maybe you're an artist, maybe you're a photographer, maybe you write music. There's a lot of these there are a lot of these YouTube channels that I was showing you that are music channels. So there's not like a ton, but there are a bunch of, like right here, Mike Drop Music. Wait, is that the name of his channel? Sorry, let me double check on that. I thought it was like Drop the Mic Music. I may have. He is somebody. He's a member. I think he still is of the Tabernacle Choir. He's actually going up pretty quick. I've had him on my featured list here for a while, and he used to be down here, but he's done something recently to where he is just like, he's passing people up. In fact, I'm about to, he just passed up Joni, Joyous Genealogist. He's going up really fast. Like, he's gone up 9 spots since the last time. That's a lot. Caitlin has gone up even more. Caitlin, 26 spots. That's like total out of all these channels. She is a rising star, and Haystack is doing really good too. He got +4. So what was I talking about? I was just talking about, he does music. That's his thing. He's a member of the Tabernacle Choir, and he has a YouTube channel, and he does music, and there's a need for that. Aside from what he's doing personally, the Tabernacle Choir, if you didn't know, I guess they're like a big, what do you call it? They do a lot of like missionary work. Like when they go places and sing, there's people that want to join the church because they hear them sing, because the music is so beautiful. They get interested in the church because of the tabernacle choir. So there, whatever your talents are, uh, tap into that, consecrate it, ask the Lord for help, be persistent, and then just do it. And then who knows how far you can go if you just keep going. Caitlin says, I just signed up for a service mission to what? I just signed up for a service mission today too, to teach institute at BYU Pathway. Face with 3 red hearts on it. Oh my gosh, that's really cool, Caitlin. That's awesome. You would be really good. Me says, wahoo, congrats, and thank you for all your hard work. With all caps for that entire sentence. Thank you, me. Let me see if was there anything else. Oh, look at my, that was our turkey. We named her Elaine. She was really like a really sweet turkey. She would like follow you around. I'd be doing work on the property and she would just follow me around. I don't know if like if she was okay in the head, but she was sweet. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Oh yeah, just you know, in fact, I've talked to recently to Caitlin about this, about like doing overlapping videos. Like you may be saying to yourself, well, I don't want to do a blog. I don't want to do a YouTube channel because there's already people that are doing it. And the thing is, I think even if you and I cover the same thing, there's going to be those people in the audience that want to hear it again because maybe they just want to process it again, or maybe they want to hear another person's take on it. So I really think that there are people. Let me know in the comments or in the chat if you'll watch like the same topic on one channel and then watch it on the other channel, like me and Caitlin, for example, because we have a lot of overlap. I think that's true because that's what I have done at other times in my life. Like there'd be something that I'd want to like learn about or to be really interested in, and I couldn't get enough. So I'd go to another channel and see what they had to say about that thing. And we're all individuals, so we all have our own perspectives and things to bring to the table. So I wouldn't let that be a limiting factor. Don't think that somebody's already doing it. You do it too, because there will be people that will want to hear it from you. Okay. Goblin 2004. I have an appointment tomorrow evening at the Red Cliffs, Utah temple. I have a goal to attend once a week. That's really good. And that's great that you live so close, because I know that you're in St. George. And that's a brand new temple, and it's a big one. That's really cool. Tammy Christensen, woohoo. I'm doing a service mission, family search, and being a temple worker, gathering Israel on both sides. Yep. I hope at some point I'm able to do like a couple, or like a senior couple mission. I think we will, but I guess for right now it's YouTube. Goblin 2004. I love having the temple so close. Greg Brown says, yes, sometimes depends on the subject. He's saying that in reference to listening to 2 different YouTubers talking about the same thing. Digital Jedi. I love listening to multiple perspectives. Often I'll get a lot from my favorite YouTubers and then get together with friends and we discuss it all for an evening. Ooh, it'd be interesting to be a fly on the wall as the YouTuber that you're talking about. Goblin 2004. To me, it is hard to follow the spreadsheets, so the way Christian Fire Poppy does her YouTube channel is easier to follow. Yeah, she does more like the excuse me, the like PowerPoints and stuff like that. Yeah, that's the thing. Like for you, maybe it's easier to watch her, and we talk about a lot of the same stuff, and so you get that information from her in a way that makes sense to you whereas other people may like the spreadsheets, and that's the better way for other people. Um, One thing, as I work on this, like the visions and visitations thing, I think this may be the one place where you're going to be able to find um, so many. Like I was saying before, you have other groups like Joseph Smith Foundation that has a lot of visions and visitations. They may have more, I'm not sure, but I think by the end of this, I think I might get the most, because I'm like set on finding as many as I possibly can, and to have them all in one place in timeline order, and then to have the full account, I think that's going to be like a really valuable resource for anybody that's interested in that kind of thing. Digital Jedi, don't worry, you are held in high regard in our circle. We appreciate you steering clear of definitive statements and deferring to apostolic opinions where something may or may not be so clear cut. Oh, good. That's good to hear. Thank you. It's so weird. It's like, that's the other thing. Like, we're living in this like bizarre world now where just like an average person like me could be talked about in circles like that. Like I was talking to Aurora. Let me see. Let me pull up her channel. I was talking to this girl right here, Aurora, and from My Moms. She renamed her podcast. It used to be the My podcast, but now it's My Moms. She was saying that she was in a park, like a city park, and she heard a group of moms like talking about my channel in a positive way, thank goodness. And I was just like, in what world is this happening to me? Like, but that's the thing, like there's this like big change taking place where when it comes to like movies and TV and music, it's what's the right word? I think I've heard it before. I think people have used the word, no, let's just say they don't have like a monopoly anymore on entertainment or watch time or whatever, you know. Now you have people like Mike that can put their music on YouTube, and you can just go watch him or listen to him, you know. Yeah, people like me, and like when I see like people on here saying that they like watch daily, what that means is that I have potentially replaced some like TV show on traditional TV, you know, and not, of course, not just me, but all these other YouTubers. Like we're there's like a shift. There's like this like shift in influence, shift in power, which I think is a good thing. You know, a lot of people will like bag on YouTube, like, YouTube is a horrible company, or they're run by, these type of people. And that's true. That is true. But they allow for things like this to happen. I may not have the same values as like YouTube and Google corporate, definitely not. But this is a really valuable tool to do what we're doing, and it opens it up to everybody. And now you don't have this like monopoly of like the TV and movie industry where that's where you have to go for entertainment. If you want to like watch something, now there's YouTube and there's other platforms too. It's amazing. And I think that we all need to just like, we need to take advantage of that. EECE says, please explain why you think Jesus' return could be this year. The reason why is because I think that prophecies that people are waiting on to be fulfilled, I think a lot of them will be fulfilled in natural ways, and that some people will recognize that they're happening and other people won't. So, for example, the New Jerusalem, there's this idea that New Jerusalem has to be constructed before the second coming. But there's like a lot of questions that come off of that. Does it have to be fully constructed? Do the streets have to be laid out? The plumbing, the electric? Do we have to have all 24 temples? What does it mean to have New Jerusalem built in Independence, Missouri? Well, maybe all that's required is to have the Independence Visitor Center, which was built to be one of the temples. If you have one temple of the 24 in New Jerusalem where it's supposed to be, maybe that's all that's required. That, and then having the people, because I think it's more about the people than it is the infrastructure. So when it comes to prophecies that still have to happen, I think that things can happen in a different way than we think, and also quicker than what we realize. A good example of that was the Kirtland Temple suddenly coming back to the church. It just came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting that day. We were looking at the prospect of Community of Christ selling it back, but it just came back just one day. It's like, the church just bought the Kirtland Temple. And then, all the other reasons, I feel like there were a lot of things that were pointing to this year specifically, like President Nelson's time is running out. It feels like it was meant to be a 5-year warning. That's just how I feel about it, but who knows? President Nelson turning 100. I could see it being that he survives to 100. The second coming happens. We enter into the millennium this year, for example. And then he is the first one to be changed in the twinkling of an eye, to like initiate this new type of death for the millennium. That'd be a perfect way to start that off, is with the current president of the church. So I feel like there's I have felt that 2020 and 2024 are like somehow like they go together. It feels like they're 2 years that are connected. They're both election years, and they're both years that have been full of surprises and division, and there's been a lot of political things going on and geopolitical things going on and wars. And I feel like you'd be hard pressed to find another year that really compares to 2020 and 2024 going back in time. Could be wrong, but would you say 1992 compares to 2024? 1998, the year 2000, maybe 2001 because of what happened that year. So there's just like so many reasons. That's why I have a channel, though, because I can't cover all the reasons just right now. There's just so many reasons why I think it could happen. We'll just wait and see. I think a lot of people like the timelines and all the like, oh, this can't happen because I think a lot of people want certainty. They don't feel comfortable with uncertainty. And I'm fine with whatever happens. But other people, it can be kind of scary. The second coming is like a big looming event, and you want to have certainty so you can feel safe, or you can feel like you have some kind of control. Other people, I think that they're just not ready spiritually and they don't want it to happen. Other people may have like a really good thing going on for them right now in life, and they don't want that to be disrupted by the full implementation of the law of consecration, for example. So, okay. Anyway, okay. Caitlin from Anticipating Christ's Return says, I just thought too, and this might be a little far-fetched. me placing my tinfoil hat on. What if the city of Enoch comes down? Sorry. What if the city of Enoch comes down with the temple they have built? That's far fetched, but maybe. Yeah, it could be. Uh, I have a lot of questions when it comes to the city of Enoch, because recently we've been getting into the Wilford Woodruff papers, and here let's go back to this. And Wilford Woodruff, 3 times that I've found so far in his journals, diaries, said that Joseph Smith believed that the Gulf of Mexico is where the city of Enoch was, almost as though to imply that that entire area, that entire piece of land that was there, has been taken up into wherever space. So if that's right, then, the city of Enoch is going to come down and it's going to return, you would think, to the Gulf of Mexico. But I think the plan is still to build those 24 temples in Jackson County. But in that scenario, maybe it would be that, they're meeting with the New Jerusalem in the sense that they're coming back to earth, and now they're going to mingle with the church on earth. Maybe that's what that means. Or it could just be the people, and the people come down. Maybe they would come with the town. I mean, there's just like, there's so many possibilities. So that's one of those things I'm not too sure about. Before finding these things in the Wilford Woodruff papers, I kind of was more of the opinion that the New Jerusalem, or referring to the city of Enoch coming down and the New Jerusalem coming from beneath, just simply meant, whenever we're caught up and we meet Christ in the clouds at the second coming, that like the two groups come together from above and from beneath, but it's just people. I still kind of think that way, but yeah, maybe they will, maybe a portion of their land, or maybe their city-sized thing will land in Jackson County or something like that. Who knows? EECE says, it makes my heart fill with joy when I hear you say it could be this year. I'm so ready. Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm no like authority really to say that, but what I will say is, I will say this. Let's go to quotes, common misconceptions. Let's go to timing of the second coming. Okay. Okay. Come on, Jared. Seals can't happen now because X hasn't happened. I think about what President Holland said in his book called Our Day Star Rising, published in 2022, pages 48 to 49. And he says, he talks about how the church has progressed, and he says, that is what is happening in this church, and we have been preparing for it for a long time. All the years that I've been a general authority, we have talked about these things. The timing is such that they are coming to pass now. I don't know what that means. I don't think it means the second coming is tomorrow. I don't think it is the day after tomorrow, but it could be. And it is going to come, or it is going to be some tomorrow. So I feel like he could have said here, like, well, all these things are happening in the church, but we still know there's so much more that has to happen before the second coming. But no, he says tomorrow, it could be. The second coming could be tomorrow. He didn't say, well, there's still all this stuff that has to happen. And there's just like so many times that the prophets and apostles have said that we're seeing the signs of the times right now. We're seeing them. You know, I don't get a sense from them that there's all this stuff that still has to happen. I actually have a spreadsheet that I put together where I tried to like find any time that a prophet or apostle has said that this has to happen first, or we still haven't done this. And there are no recent statements that say anything like that. So I just go with what the prophet and apostles say. It doesn't seem like to them that there's a whole bunch of stuff that still has to happen. In fact, let's go back here. You have, for example, Temples of Jesus channel. This is Mindy. She's in California. She has this video of Elder Treadway of the 70, I believe, where he said that President Nelson said there's only 2 things left before the second coming. And you can watch this. Make sure to subscribe to Mindy, though. So that's what I go with. You know, it's about to be 9:30 here, and I'm like, I've gotten progressively tired, more and more tired as I've done this live stream. But I want to thank you all for your support. I love you guys, and you know, I'm excited to see like how this whole thing ends. You know, I've just reached 3 years. I don't know if I'm going to be doing this for 20 more years or, you know, 1 more day. I have no idea how this ends. But I do know that the more I keep doing this, the more we're going to learn and find and put together. And we're probably about to witness some really incredible things just this year alone. If not the second coming itself, then I think there's a lot of incredible things that are going to continue to happen this year specifically. It's already been a really wild second half of the year, and it just keeps going. I have a video coming out tomorrow about something that's like a first ever. And so make sure to watch that. But it's just like the next thing for this second half of the year that's just making this second half of the year crazy. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching my channel. I hope you enjoy it. I appreciate your comments, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.